Welcome to STEM at Home. My name's Mr. Norman. Today we're going to make an electromagnet and we'll also make an electric motor. For our electric magnet you're going to need tape, a piece of sandpaper, a bolt, a steel bolt or a steel nail, a D-cell battery, and 9 feet of magnet wire. It could be 26 gauge all the way to 20 gauge. The 20 gauge will be easier to work with, but this is 26 gauge. When the current flows through a wire, it generates a magnetic field. Coiling the wire increases the magnetic field, and we're going to see how we can make an electric field with our electromagnet to pick up paper clips. To make our electromagnet, we're going to take about 8 inches of magnet wire so that we have a tail hanging out this way that'll be attached to the battery, and then wrap it a few times, and I'm going to put a piece of tape just to hold it in place. Okay, then we're going to keep winding the wire around, make the coil so that it's close together. And keep winding and pushing it together as you go along. And we're going to just keep going and make a coil that travels the whole, as much of the bolt as your 9 feet of magnet wire will go, but you will want to leave a tail at the other end too. Once you get your bolt wrapped, then you're going to want to take another piece of tape and tape it off so that it stays put. My tape's too small. Get a bigger piece here. And then for cutting your wire, you can just use scissors to cut the magnet wire. And then you have something like this with your two tails leading out to the either side, and we're going to take those tails and we're going to, just on the ends, we're going to scrape off the enamel or shellac that's on the wire so that when we touch the battery together we will be able to to make the electromagnet work. You're going to want to get all the enamel off the wire ends, just the ends, an inch or so of the wire. So you have to sandpaper it until it's going to turn kind of a dull copper color. You have to do that real thoroughly so that both ends are free of the enamel so that it can connect to the battery. Now this is the electromagnet. Now it doesn't have the electricity, so we're going to try to pick up these. I couldn't find my paper clips, so these are little tacks, steel tacks, and we try to pick up the tacks with our electromagnet without the electricity, and nothing happens. But when we put the electricity, attach the battery, we get it to pick up, but we disconnect it, it falls. We've attached our electromagnet, one of the wires to the positive side of the battery and one side to the negative side of the battery. It doesn't matter which way you put the wires, it'll still work. One of the most important uses of electromagnets is in electric motors. The electromagnetic force in an electric motor causes the rotor to spin, and we're going to see that when we build our own electric motor. To build our electric motor, we're going to need some parts. We'll need a D-cell battery, a 3 feet of magnet wire, either this is 26 gauge, or you could 20 gauge or 22 gauge would be easier to work with, but this will work. A marker to wrap our coil around, some tape, this is electrical tape, and 2 large paper clips. Make sure they're paper clips that aren't colored, because they have a coating on them when they're colored, and we need them to conduct electricity. And neodymium magnet, that's spelled Neodymium. These magnets, you'll need an adult's help to use these magnets. They're very dangerous if swallowed. The first thing we need to do to build our electric motor is we want to bend our paper clips, and we want the paper clip to look like this. So we're going to take our paper clip and bend the inside part till it's in a straight line, like that. That's how we want it bent. And we bend the other one. and it should look like that when you're done. The next thing we do is we're going to attach the paper clips to our battery with tape. To attach our paper clips, we're going to take the big side, the bigger loop, and put it around the positive side of the battery, like that, and tape it off. And then take the other paper clip. We're going to use the circles in the battery to help us to guide it so the circle just about matches the circle in the paper clip. We want it to be straight up and down with the other one. Now mine one side is a little higher than the other side, so let me lower this down. You want them to be even on both sides. And so now we've got our battery with our paper clips attached to the battery. The next thing we need to do is to build the rotor for our electric engine. We're going to wrap the coils around a marker. We're going to leave about 3 inches tail on the rotor, and we're going to wrap it 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we want to leave another 3 inches on the other side. So we have the coil on the marker, and then we pull it off, hold the coil together, and take one side with your tail and fish it through the bottom up through the loop. And we're going to do that 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to try to make we're going to fish the other tail through the loop 3 times also. We're going to try to make it exactly opposite of the other wire. 3. And then we're going to just size it to make sure we don't get, because I think our tails are too long. So we're going to size it by putting it in here and seeing if it will go on there or not. No. So we need to get rid of a little bit. I'm going to cut off a little bit. Okay, we've got it sized pretty well. We have to fiddle with it to get it straight, and we might as well, we don't want to do a whole lot of straightening because we have to do the sandpaper. So we're going to sandpaper one side of the loop. We're going to sandpaper everything off of the that tail. And then for the other tail, we're only going to take off half of the enamel or varnish. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to set the, got the paper here so I don't mess up the table. I'm going to set the with the loop vertically, and we're going to take the sandpaper and sandpaper it off, just that one side of the tail. So one of our tails has all the enamel off, and one side has half of it off. So now we have sanded on one side of our one tail. We've sanded half of the tail, and the other one we've sanded the whole tail. When I say half, I mean the holding it so the loop is vertical and then sanding the wire, just the top part of the wire. When the loop is vertical, sand the top part of the wire, not the bottom part of the wire. So now let's see if our motor will work. First we got to get it so it spins fairly well, and it's a little bit wobbly. We have to fiddle with it to get it so it's really okay. Now we'll put on our magnet. And you can put the magnet onto the battery, it'll stick to the battery, and then push it up towards the I think I'm going to have to get more of the enamel off of the tails. So let me do that. So I sanded some more on the tails of the rotor, and now as you can see it's working. That's really important to get that those tails as clean as get all the enamel off the tail. And that's it. That's our real simple DC motor.